You know, don't you, that the two of us need to have a good talk, and this time not about me, about you. I wished I could do like the bees, just bump her forehead with a warning, tap it with my finger. I've got my eye on you. Be careful. Don't go any farther. I suppose, I answered. What about right now? Not right now. But Lily, I'm starved. I think I'll go back to the house and see if lunch is ready. I didn't wait for her to speak. Walking to the pink house, I could almost see the end of the line. I touched the place on my shirt where I'd stuck the Black Mary. She was starting to come unglued. The whole house smelled like fried okra. Rosaline was setting the table in the kitchen while May dipped down in the grease and brought up the golden brown kernels. I didn't know what had brought on the okra, since it was usually bologna sandwiches and more bologna sandwiches. May had not had a crying jag since June performed her tomato-throwing fit, and we were all holding our breath. After going this long, I worried that even something as simple as burned okra might set her over the edge. I said I was hungry, and Rosaline said to hold my wild horses. Her lower lip was plumped out with red rose snuff. The smell followed her around the kitchen, like it was on a leash, a combination of allspice, fresh earth, and rotten leaves. Between the okra and the snuff, I could not get a decent breath. Rosaline walked across the back porch, leaned out the door, and spit a tiny jet stream across the hydrangeas. Nobody could spit like Rosaline. I'd had fantasies of her winning $100 in a spitting contest, and the two of us going to a nice motel in Atlanta and ordering room service with the prize money. I had always been my fond wish to stay in a motel, but at that moment, if you had told me I could have had my choice of luxury motels with heated pools and televisions set right in the room, I would have turned it down flat for the pink house. There had been a few times, though, just after I woke up, when I thought about my old house, and I would miss it for a second or two before I remembered kneeling on the kitchen floor with grits digging into my kneecaps, or trying to step around a great big pile of T-Ray's nasty mood, but usually landing right in it. I would remember him tearing into me, shouting, "Jesus H. Christ! Jesus H. Christ!" The word slap across the face I ever got was when I interrupted him to ask just what did H stand for anyways. One quick walk down memory lane and the old home feeling would blow right over. I would take the pink house any day. Zach shuffled into the kitchen behind August. My, okra and pork chops for lunch? What's this about? August asked May. May slid over to her and said in a low voice, "It's been 5 days since I've been to the wall." And I could see how proud of this fact she was, how she wanted to believe her days of hysterical crying were behind her, but this okra lunch was a celebration. August smiled at her. 5 days? Really? Well, that deserves a feast, she said. And May, she beamed. Zach plopped down in a chair. Did you finish delivering the honey? August asked him. Everywhere but Mr. Clayton's law office, he said. He was fidgeting with everything in sight. First the placemat, then the loose thread in his shirt, like he was bursting to say something. August looked over him. You got something on your mind? You won't believe what people downtown are saying, he said. They're saying Dak Palance is coming into Tiburon this weekend and bringing a colored woman with him. We all stopped what we were doing and looked at each other. Who's Jack Palance? Rosaline said. Even though we hadn't started lunch yet, she had bitten into a piece of pork chop and was chewing and talking with her mouth open. I tried to catch her eye, pointing to my closed mouth, hoping she'd get the message. He's a movie star, said Jack. June snorted. Well, how dumb is that? What would a movie star be doing in Tiburon? Zach shrugged. They say his sister lives here, and he's coming to visit and intends to take this colored woman to the movies theater that Friday. Not to the balcony, but downstairs with the white section. August turned to May. Why don't you go out to the garden and pick some fresh tomatoes to go with our lunch? She said, then waiting till May was out the door. I could tell she was afraid Jack Palance trying to integrate the movie theater might ruin May's okra feast. "Are people stirred up about this?" she asked Zack. Her eyes looked serious. "Yes, ma'am," he said. "In Garrett's Hardware there were white men talking about standing guard outside the theater." "Lord, here we go," said Rosaline. June made a "poof" sound with her lips, while August shook her head, and it washed over me for the first time in my life just how much importance the world had ascribed to skin pigment. How lately it seemed that skin pigment was the sun of everything else in the universe was orbiting planets. Ever since school let out this summer, it had been nothing but skin pigment, ever living long day. I was sick of it. In Sylvan, we had a rumor at the first of the summer about the busload of people from New York showing up to integrate the city pool. Talk about a panic. We had a citywide emergency on our hands, as there is no greater affliction for the southern mind than people up north coming down to fix our way of life. After that was the whole mess with the men at the escrow station. It seemed to me it would have been better if God had deleted skin pigment altogether. As May came back into the kitchen, August said, "Let's enjoy our meal," which meant Jack Pallant's was not a lunch topic. May plopped down 3 big tomatoes, and while she and Rosaline sliced them up, August went to the den and put a Nat King Cole record on the player, a machine so old the records would not even drop automatic fashion. She was crazy about Nat King Cole, and she returned, with the volume up, frowning in that way people do when they bite into something and it tastes so delicious they appear to be in pain over it. June turned up her nose. She only cared for Beethoven and that whole group. She went and turned the sound down. "I can't think," she said. August said, "You know what? You think too much, and it would do you a world of good to stop thinking and just go with your feelings once in a blue moon." June said she would take her lunch in her room. "Thank you." I guess that was just as well, because I was looking at the tomatoes May and Rosaline were slicing and rehearsing in my head how I would say, "So will you have some tomatoes, June? Don't you love tomatoes?" Now at least I could be saved from that. We ate till we were tired of eating, which is the way people in South Carolina eat at family reunions.